All right, in this episode, we talk about building speed for the pitcher.
And hey, let's just waste more time with long toss and running throws.
Porcio, Stephen go down to here at Top Velocity. Is this my Australian accent going on? Hashtag Pitching Tips Show, where you go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, at Top Velocity, hashtag Pitch Tips, hashtag Baseball Tips. Ask your question we answered on the show. It's the Christmas holidays. We're all stressed out. I'm stressed out.
I'm not. I got a sweet hotel waiting for me.
Yeah. He got lucky. I don't know how that happened. But if you are enjoying your holidays and you haven't done it already, send us a question. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and we're going to answer on the show. Check out TopVelocity.net. All of our 3X Velocity camps are kicking off right now. We're about to go into season. I know everybody's going to be excited. The season's coming. Jesus, it just seemed like who won the World Series?
The Royals.
Royals won the World Series. And we're already about to start again because we're about to start, amateur baseball. So it's exciting. But are you ready? Are you ready for your season? Do you have a good set of mechanics that are going to drive you through the year, that you're consistent with, that are going to maximize ball speed? Do you have a good training regimen, a good training routine to maintain that or to keep developing that until the season starts and then you maintain that? Do you have a program that tells you what to do Monday through Friday to do that? If not, you need to come down here. This is what we do for you here at Top Velocity. But first, we're going to answer a question. What's the next question on the show?
Victor Wu asks, how do you improve the speed aspect of pitching? Would that be sprints and plyometrics? Would power to weight ratio matter if you have a 1.3 ratio?
That's like the $1 million question there, Victor Wu. Victor's from Australia. He's been down to a camp. Really worked hard on the program. I think Victor's gone from the 70s to the mid 80s with the program. Victor has, I remember with Victor here, he's quick. I think he probably has that 1.3 power to weight ratio. But he's 6 feet-ish, 6'1". So I tell guys there, you're a 1.5 guy. I had to get, had to break 1.3. So just break 1.3. We got to get close to 1.5. And because, Victor, you have the serious mobility issues in your hips, your external rotation was really locked up, and it's still hard for you to hold torsion longer. So it's really hard for you to peak those forces because you want to collapse early. And mobility is something really challenging to work on, but you can do it. I've seen guys make drastic changes, and I think that's where you got to work. Yeah, you can get faster, but I think more importantly for you, Victor, is you got to convert what energy and what speed you have better, and that comes with more mobility to use it, time it better with that mobility, use it through longer ranges. You typically get over your trunk too early because everything goes too early. So if you can learn later on the back leg drives into front foot strike, later on the trunk rotation, more front leg extension, more linear front leg extension, all of those really, you need to work better on converting what speed you have, and mobility is going to be a big key for you. Now, for those out there that want to enhance speed, it's influenced mainly through fast twitch muscle fiber, that explosive fiber, and how much of that can we recruit. There's no better way, and several studies have shown that Olympic lifting is the most effective form of training for maximizing or remodeling hypertrophy and fast twitch muscle fiber. So that's the place to go if God only gave you, low to mid 80s. You really have to go there. Now, is that easy? No. Like I said, most pitchers out there don't want to spend their careers building fast twitch muscle fiber.
Yep.
But if you don't do that, then you're going to have to just accept where you are. Yeah, you can get better at converting what you have, like I'm telling Victor. But Victor's also doing all this speed training. I don't know how much Olympic lifting he's doing now. Hopefully he's doing a lot. And Olympic lifting forces you into those good mobile ranges. But ideally, why not use the best approach? Why not use the best way to remodel hypertrophy fast twitch muscle fiber, Olympic lifting, and do it? And Steve and I were talking about it at lunch today. Steven, says it's hard. You get to places where you get frustrated and you wonder if there's other ways to do this. Bob even talked about it 3 months into the training of this program. He hadn't gained any ball speed. And then all of a sudden, literally like the last month, he went from 85 to 91. It just took off. And I always talk about there's a tipping point. There's a lot of patience in building power. This sounds kind of weird or kind of, I guess not ethical, but that's not really my point if you think of it that way. But I always say, if you're stuck and you've plateaued or you're worn out, you're frustrated, if you, at the point you are, if some type of steroid use could take you to a whole other level and all your problems would go away, the point is not to use steroids. The point is keep working on power production. Meaning, that's what, when you think of steroid use, you maximize power in a quicker amount of time, and then all of a sudden all your problems are solved. And we see guys do. We saw all the guys do it this steroid era. The point is we're not doing steroids, but it's telling you just need more power. And power does come slowly. It takes time to build power, and that really is essential. You can never have enough. I mean, like Steven, I was like, Steven, I mean, is there a point where you have too much power? And he was like, no. Why would you have too much power? I mean, it does get to a point where, to gain another 40 pounds on your clean could take, at this point, another 2 years. Now it seems like, I don't know if it's worth gaining that power in that amount of time. I understand that issue, but still you want that extra 40 pounds. And it does come down to a time issue, but you never go wrong with power. You can never be at a point where, I screwed up. I guess you'd never have that regret. I screwed up in trying to gain velocity. I focused on power too much, and I had too much power. I mean, it's laughable, right? I think you can do it the other way, where I really screwed up on velocity. I did too many running throws. I did too many, long 300-foot toss. I did too many tubing, too many bands, too much mobility. I did too many drills that I wasn't really getting anywhere. To tell you the truth, power is the one thing you never have enough of. Like I always say, if you can throw 120 miles an hour, you do it. I think, Victor, your path is a little different than others right now. You always need power, is what I'm saying. You just need to convert your power better. Mobility is the way to do it. And those out there that haven't even tapped into some type of remodeling hypertrophy fast twitch muscle fiber at a level like doing Olympic training, there's so much you are going to benefit from in the initial phases to do that would be great for you. So anything you want to add to it?
I think people, see guys like Tim Lincecum, Giordano Ventura, like really just fast speed guys that me and Brent have like talked about, where you necessarily wouldn't consider them a power pitcher. They're just this freak elite speed guy that's just like born genetically with all this speed, and the majority of the world is not born with that speed. You might be a fast guy, but I guarantee you, when Tim Lincecum was throwing 100 miles per hour, I'm sure he would have beaten you in a sprint. So you can't really influence yourself to become that kind of level of speed if you're just not genetically there through doing plyometrics and sprints. Like, you're just never going to catch up to them. So your only answer is to develop more power, and that's going to come through strength training, doing plyometrics as well, but really crushing it in Olympic lifting. Really, the fusion system, pretty much what everything works on, is really your only chance. And trying to build some mass, build power, all of that is really going to be the only thing that's going to get you closer to doing it. You're never just going to get there from just doing plyometrics and sprints and trying to catch up that way. You need to start trying to bust past what your genetic level was giving you and turn yourself into a power athlete. But like Brent's saying, it takes a long time. Especially if you're way behind the curve, it takes a long time to develop yourself there, and a lot of pitchers just don't want to put the time in to try to do that.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. All right, next question.
Mike Hoffman asks, is there any truth to throwing 100 yards translates to 89, 90 miles per hour from the mound? Thanks, Brent.
All right, 100 yards, we can say 300 feet, doesn't exactly reach or equal 300 miles or 90 miles per hour because there's a trajectory to that. I mean, it's physics, right? We have to be at a certain trajectory at 300 feet for it to equal 90 miles per hour. So if we look at, the only thing I have on that is the ASMI study, the study that showed basically extreme long toss. When you went to maximum distance, what occurred. And in that study, we have college pitchers throwing 87 miles per hour at 90 feet I think it was 120, 180, 300, or almost 300. It was like 296, but close to 300. It was very interesting to see when they went from 180 feet and it was still at 87 miles per hour, and then they went to almost 300, and it was down to 84 miles per hour. So it was interesting to see that there was a decrease, but in almost 300 feet, it was only 84 miles per hour. So of course the trajectories were obviously very high at that point. So that's the thing, is you could be 300 feet and still be in the mid 80s, just like in this case study, or maybe the high 80s, okay? And then you work back to 320, 330, you're gonna eventually hit it, right? But here's the thing is, we know in that study with ASMI that you're changing mechanics. So it's, once again, the problem with these throws is just like running throws, is that it doesn't correlate. In a running throw, your momentum to front foot strike is not something that you can't do that same mechanical, or that's the same technique on a mound to generate the same velocity. So if you're in a running throw and you're throwing 105 miles per hour after a full run into front foot strike, and then you get on the mound, how are you going to now make up for that run where you generate all that momentum? Obviously that's in a back leg drive. So if you don't understand and you don't have an approach to develop the power to make up for the momentum that you got out of the running throw into front foot in your back leg drive on the mound, it'll never correlate. It will never translate. There's no other way to do it. If not, why are you doing the running throw? If you're going to go to a mound and say, okay, I'm going to teach the arm path better now that I'm on the mound to translate the momentum lost from the run and the running throw to the mound, that's illogical. It's backwards. The only way you can actually make it translate is you have to generate the same momentum before front foot strike, and the only way to do that is on the drive leg, because that's the only leg that is actually doing anything before front foot strike, right? So the same thing in extreme long toss. To get to those distances at a high trajectory, you've changed your mechanics. The study shows you become more rotational, more transverse, and you lose all the sagittal movements, which are key movements to high velocity pitchers. So it's not going to translate. So you're going to come back to the mound, and to throw that 360 feet wherever you finally hit 90, you're not going to be able to throw that way on the mound. So then you have to change things, and now your body moves differently, and it probably moves slower, not as dynamic, not as smooth, and then you have issues. It doesn't convert. So these throws to me are a complete waste of time. If you want to do it just to feel like, hey, I threw as hard as a big leaguer, even though it was in a completely different throw, but that makes me feel great and special, kudos to you. But that's not what we would recommend, because we are passionate about being pitchers. We're passionate about being high velocity pitchers. So we've studied why Matt Harvey throws as hard as he does, why Chapman throws as hard as he does, why DeGrom throws as hard as he does, why Noah Syndergaard throws as hard as he does, why David Aardsma throws as hard as he does, and we try to develop ourselves to be like them, and to be able to complete the same movement and the same environment in the same situations to have the same success. And so to me, that's, if you're wanting to be a pitcher and this is your passion, that's the only way to do it. It'd be like a hitter saying, I want the bat speed of Mike Trout, so I'm going to Happy Gilmore. I'm going to run up and Happy Gilmore all my tee work just so I can have his bat speed. But yet when I get in a game, is that going to convert? It's not going to convert. It's ridiculous. So I love these questions because it's intriguing, it's fun with physics, and that's what this is. 300 feet does not equal 90 miles per hour. You have to know the trajectory after that. You have to probably know the wind at the time. But what the heck are we talking about? Is this pitching? It's like, is this pitching? No, it's not pitching. So that's fun. Let's move on, turn the page, and let's do what we love to do and talk about what we love to do and learn from these guys that do it at the elite levels. And that's what we do here at Top Velocity. Like I said, I enjoy these questions. They're fun, and they're controversial, and they're great, create entertainment. But at the end of the day, we're wasting our times, guys. It's a total waste of time. There's so much to do to really do what we want to do, which is throw 100 miles an hour on a friggin' mound in front of scouts and make it to the big leagues. Mm-hmm. That doesn't correlate. If it did, you'd have your Donovan Ventura, on Sports Center talking about how he's got a 110 mile an hour running throw with a 4-ounce baseball. He doesn't, and he never will. Or maybe they will if they make it a sport, but he never will, because that's not what he's known for. He's known for throwing 100 miles an hour on a mound to Mike Trout to strike him out or to who did he strike out in the World Series this year. That's what he's known for, and that's what he's going to brag about, because that's what he's passionate about, and that's what his talent is. Anything you want to add to that?
That was a great rant.
You like that rant?
I would just say with like extreme long tossing, I think you get one positive from it in that it increases your intent. So you can get your intent up and, you know, maybe gain 2 to 3 miles per hour just by upping your intent that you could bring back to the mound. But what happens is all these kids are hearing their whole entire life on how to gain velocity. All the coaches will say long toss is how you're gonna gain arm strength and gain velocity and stuff. So how do you take a kid who's 70 miles per hour, 80 miles per hour, who needs more than just 2 to 3, and tell them that, you know what, extreme long toss or doing these running throws is going to get you to 90 miles per hour? It just doesn't happen. You need to look deeper into it. You need to look into your deficiencies. You probably have mobility deficiencies. You lack power. You're not using the correct biomechanics, all of that. And then on top of it, not only with long tossing, it puts torques on your arm, unnecessary torques. It's pulling you out of your kinematics that Brent's talking about that you use on the mound. So you're teaching your body a whole different movement that's confusing the hell out of it when you're trying to learn movements to create linear power towards the mound. So it really just doesn't make sense. I'm with him on this, that it turns into a rant that it's like, wow, baseball, wake up. This doesn't make sense anymore. We have all these kids that want to get to 90 miles per hour. Long toss is not how you do it. Running throws is not how you do it. Let's start building some power. So let's start learning the good mechanics. Let's start building some mass. Let's start getting better mobility, and let's start learning how to take it to the mound and not these little gimmicks that pitchers want to use as this shortcut that this is going to get them there, and it's just not.
Yes. Good one. That was a good rant.
Thank you.
Two good rants. All right, so we hope you're still watching. Great questions. We love those questions. If you have any more questions, go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, at TopVelocity, #PitchTips. Ask your questions. We answer on the show. And check out TopVelocity.net for all the 3X and 2X camps, programs. Come on out here. We would love to have you down. Stay with Steven for 3X training. We got guys training right now all through the break. We're going to have guys training all summer. We want you guys to come down here and just soak up our knowledge, and we want to help you get to your goals because we love testimonials. At the end of the day, we love our testimonials.
Oh, yeah.
We take a lot of pride in our testimonials because we know these guys worked hard, and we know we worked hard to get them there, and we need more of them. So we want you down here to be a testimonial with us.
Absolutely.